my belief, my firm belief is you shouldn't have any more than 3 items on a to-do list in a day. We're talking about a personal to-do list. Like I said, please, we're not looking at, you know, put fuel in the van, pay the wholesaler, file a tax return. We're not looking at a to-do list like that. We're talking about a personal to-do list, a personal development to-do list. You know, what materials have you read? What new system have you conquered? You know, have you spent time sitting down to learn how to build a website? Have you looked at putting your Aweber campaigns together? Have you learned how to do copywriting? You know, how do you write copy in such a way that it's engaging? Or do you just copy and paste stuff that's already in existence? What have you done to learn or understand the finances of your business? How do you know or understand basic profit and loss return, you know, profit and loss sheets? Do you understand how Facebook ads work, how YouTube ads work? Do you know how to edit a video? What is it in your personal growth that you need to develop? And as I said, my belief is that your list should be no more than 3 items in a day. If you have 3 very simple items in a day that you know will move you forward. Look, for example, very simple. If I want to read that book, if I'm going to read that book, the daunting task may be, crap, I've got to find time to sit down and read that book. Yeah, that's what that's what your brain normally goes. I've got to find time to sit down and read that book. It's the whole book. Okay, but if I break down my personal goals into, okay, I'm going to read a chapter a day, or I'm going to read 2 chapters a day, then that's slightly different. So task number 1 on my to-do list for today could be, I'm going to read chapter 3 of Expert Mastery. Okay, I'm going to read chapter 3 of Expert Mastery. Then I'm eventually, you know, tomorrow I'll read chapter 4, and the next day I'll read chapter 5, and the next day I'll read chapter 6, and eventually I will have read the book. Okay, let's go off marketing for a second. If I want to learn how to play guitar, which I'm currently with my son, I'm back to learning guitar, a blast from my past. But if I want to learn guitar from scratch, if I didn't know a chord or a riff or anything, if I want to learn guitar, what do? Learn 1 chord. You know, I'm not going to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to learn guitar in a day. That's not going to happen. But if I take 1 day and 1 part of my to-do list is to learn 1 chord, and I take, yeah, in 1 day I will learn that chord. Or even in 1 week I will learn that chord, but that chord remains on my to-do list for that week. You know, depends on how fast or how slow you will pick things up. The bottom line is that by the end of, if I do a chord a day, by the end of the week, I'm going to have at least 5 chords under my belt. Does this make sense? You're moving forward. You're moving forward. And the same goes for if I'm going to learn how to edit a video, then I don't sit down and say, I'm going to learn video editing in a day. You know, the first thing I might do is say, right, how do I cut the video? So on my to-do list for today is, how do I cut that video? How do I top and tail? How do I get the piece off the end of it that's, you know, me leaning forward to turn on the camera? How do I get rid of that first? And that goes on my to-do list until I learn how to do it. And I master that, and then I'll move on and I'll master another segment, which might be, how do I add music to my video? And that goes on my to-do list, and I master that. And then I might say, right, how do I add my intro and outro? How do I add those to the video? And I learn that. But instead of sitting down and going, hey, I need a huge to-do list, and then not doing anything because I'm overwhelmed with it. Oh, God, I haven't had time to learn how to record videos. I haven't had time to learn how to put my Aweber together. Instead of doing that, I'm breaking it down into bite-sized chunks, and I am moving forward. So at the end of every day, I will have learned something. At the end of every week, I will have moved forward. At the end of every month, I will have developed. At the end of every year, I will have an achievement under my belt. I will have mastered something. And the bottom line is, guys, that the 3 things that you put on your to-do list need to be meaningful things. Like I said, we are not looking at those items of, I've got to fuel the car, got to pay the VAT, got to do the. I'm talking about personal items of development, things that will help you to move forward in your business, your life, your personal life, but meaningful things. And the thing is, it doesn't come off of the list until it is completed. Does that make sense? So let's use the guitar chord thing again. Now, I don't know, depending on how dexterous you are with your fingers, depending on how quickly you pick things up, depending how musical you are, all of that. You know, you may learn a chord in a day. It may be that I will sit down, you know, I'll spend an hour on that and I will have learned it. I will know how to shape that chord, I'll know how to move that chord, I'll know how to strum that chord, whatever the case is. That you might do that in an hour, you might do it, it might take you a whole day, it might take you 3 sittings, it might take you the week, but it doesn't come off the list until you have mastered it. And then you've moved a step forward. Hopefully, this, like I said, it's simple. It sounds daft, but if you go into 2018, commit to yourself, you know what, I'm going to do this. I am going to have a daily to-do list. There are only ever going to be 3 items of personal development. I'm not talking about all the other stuff. There are going to be 3 items of personal development on my to-do list every single day. I'm going to sit down in the evening before, or I'm going to do first thing in the morning, I'm going to write out what those 3 things are. They are meaningful to me. They are things that I want to develop in. They are areas that I want to move on in my life in. It is stuff I want to learn. It is stuff that I've been putting off, that I have thought to myself, I must master this. I must get this. Whether it's how to read a balance sheet, whether it's how to put together your VAT returns, whether it's understanding simple bookkeeping, whether it's putting videos together, whether it's learning Facebook ads, whether it's using Aweber, whatever it is, if it's guitar playing, if it's whatever it might be, as long as it's meaningful and it's going to help you move forward, then every day you put an item on the list that brings you forward, that brings you ahead in that area. 3, no more than 3. Why? Why 3? Because if you go more than 3, you start to have a chunky list and you go, oh, can't be bothered. Or there's lots of room to go, well, I didn't get that done because of I was doing this. If you have 3, it's manageable, it's achievable. If you have 1, you don't feel like you've achieved anything. If you have 2, you don't feel like you've achieved anything. If you've got 3, you feel like you've achieved. And if you strive to achieve and complete that list every day, then at the end of the day, you will feel that sense of achievement. At the end of the week, you'll feel that sense that you've moved forward a bit. At the end of a year, you'll be unstoppable.